Welcome to the Life 2.0 podcast. My name is Matt Jones, a former pro musician turned lifestyle entrepreneur and author. Every week, I want to bring you different strategies, tools, and concepts to empower your life, from mindset to health, career, and more. Thank you for hanging here with me. It means everything. Now, let's get to the episode. The more we hold on to something, the harder it is to let it go, right? And this is true for so many aspects of our life. The more we let go onto that relationship, the more we let go on to the outcome of this career or that thing, the more we hold on to it, the harder it is mentally to carry on with our lives. And we end up driving ourselves crazy with the what ifs and the whys and the maybes and the what if, and we drive ourselves insane. So today what I want to talk about is Wu-Wei, and this is based on Taoist philosophy. Perhaps you've seen this before. Taoism, it's spelled Taoism in the West, but this is actually the wrong translation. It's pronounced Taoism, and it comes from ancient Chinese philosophy. And so one of these principles of it that I want to talk about today is Wu-Wei. I first heard about this about 15 years ago when I was studying Alan Watts, and I was studying Buddhism, and this is actually the book that I had 15 years ago when I was first studying it, and it goes into yin and yang and all sorts of just great, Eastern philosophical ideas, and something that I really associate with. I'm not a religious person, I'm a very spiritual person, and this is really about self-enlightenment, and it doesn't just give you the ready-made answers, but it sort of, gives you these, these hints and ways to kind of look at life, and that's what I want to present to you today. It's not necessarily giving you an answer, but an idea that you can take with yourself. Now, Taoism literally translates to the way, and if you are a pure Taoist, you'll know that Taoism is technically not supposed to be explained. As it's said in Taoism, it is everything and it is nothing. And it cannot be taught, but it can be learned. Very confusing, very paradoxical. I know. However, stick with me. And I want to break this down to a very simple idea. And again, this is my idea, how I view Wu-Wei, how I've used it in my own life. Now, the idea of Taoism is to more unify the human mind, body, and spirit. And it believes that the more that humanity gets away from its relationship with nature and the natural way of things, the further we actually get away from ourselves. So Taoism was created by Lao Tzu, thousands of years ago, and the one of the fundamental purposes of this philosophy was to live more harmoniously. Right? You can still pursue, your goals. You can still be active in what you want to do. Wu-Wei is not a passive philosophy as people think it is, inaction. That's just not true. It's more thoughtful action. It's more natural action. That's the idea behind it. Now, I've done another video on the law of reversed effort with Alan Watts, the backwards law, and I've explained this, in its basic practical form. Now, we live in such a busy time nowadays. We're more distracted than ever. Technology has just completely changed our lives. And, you think that it would actually make us a lot happier, but the truth is that it's not. We're more anxious, we're more depressed than ever, and we tend to be in our heads so much. And we have all these devices that kind of take us away from the natural realm of things, even though I love technology. However, I realize that, sometimes I need to get away from it. And another way to look at the natural way of things is that we need to learn to be more present in our daily lives. Now, you'll notice that when we're more present, we're a lot happier. You'll notice this when you're having sex. You'll notice this when you are playing sports with friends. I notice this when I'm playing music. Time disappears And when I can learn to just be authentic and be present in the moment that I'm living, like, I am so much happier all the time. I've, you notice this. If there's something that you love to do, you notice that time disappears. And it's only when we, maybe Monday rolls around, and we have to go to the job and we're dreading that job, and then we're dreading the drive to that job, and then seeing that person at the water cooler, oh, I don't want to talk to them. And, we get in our minds, and then where are we living? We're living in the future. And this is where all this anxiety and depression and sadness comes from for people. It could be from dreading a conversation you're going to have with somebody. It could be wanting to be with somebody so bad, and it's all you think about. You put this person up on a pedestal, and, you're just so attached to that one thing. And if you know anything about Buddhism, is that, attachment is the root cause of suffering. Now, it's okay, I think, to be attached to certain things in life, as I mentioned before, in terms of my family. I love my family. I am attached to them, and that's okay. But, certain attachments, especially in modern society, we're attached to so many things, computers or cars or that certain job. And, I think these are the attachments that we need to focus on. And this is where Wu-Wei helps us to, take a step back, be more conscientious, and live a little bit more of a harmonious life. So basically, Wu-Wei literally translates to non-action, or Wu transforms to non or negates, and Wei translates to action or force. So it's like non-action, non-force. And so when we can learn to use this approach in our daily lives, we can learn to not only get the things we still want, but we can do it with, more peace, more tranquility. Like Buddha said, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. You have to just choose to be something. You have to just choose to live and be that authentic person in that present moment. I think we get so attached to things in life. That car or this person is going to make me happy, and once I get these things and I collect them all, that will be my precious, and I will be happy finally, right? Well, that's just completely not true. Why have, I don't know if this has happened to you, but some of the poorest people in the world, I've met people with next to nothing, and they are the happiest people I've ever met in my life as I've traveled around the world. Why is that? Because some people are just not attached to things. Or people with less, why are they more giving than, why are they seeming to be more giving to world and humanity than a lot of wealthy people? You'll notice there's just people who just live in their humility, and they're not so attached to material obligations that, they know the true essence of life and being content with things. And, things change. That's another essence of Taoism, is that being aware that things change, nothing remains the same at all times. So it's about acceptance and letting go. And I think we need to do this with our lives on a daily basis. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you before, but I remember I've dreaded job interviews before, and I thought about it. I was nervous. I was thinking about the perfect things to say, the perfect things to do, the perfect things to say. And up until the moment of the interview, walking through the doors, I was nervous. I didn't know what I was going to say. And I just wanted it so bad. And then I've relaxed, and I just went, you know what? If I don't get it, I don't get it. If I'm not the right fit, I'm not the right fit. And I decided at that moment, I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to be myself. And I hope they like me. I hope they accept me. That'd be great. And if they don't, then I'll look for another job. And I remember going to a job interview like that, just being myself and having a great time and being really present. And I wasn't aware if 20 minutes went by or 45 minutes went by, and I was just present. I was having a conversation with somebody. I was looking them in the eye. I was telling them who I was. And I left that interview thinking, oh my God, I'm an idiot. Like, why did I say that? Or why did I do that? I didn't mean to do that. And then, what do you know? Got the call and I got the job, And that's blown my mind before. But I learned that I was just being authentic. I was being myself. And I wasn't being needy or trying to be someone else. And I think, people who try to hire you in jobs, I think they can pick up on that needed energy. And that energy that is not quite authentic. And I think this is why Wu-Wei is so important. It's more effortless. It's a better way to be. And if you look at these little examples in your life, like I mentioned with this job interview, you'll notice that it's just much better. If you've ever had a conversation with somebody casually out and about, and maybe someone that you're maybe attracted to, and perhaps you didn't really have any goal in mind and you were just talking, but the conversation ended up being really good, and then before you know it, you're like, this person's coming on to you, or they're calling you the next day, and you're like, I didn't mean for this to happen, but I'm really glad it did. And it's weird because I'm really excited. Whereas this person who I really liked, I went after them like crazy. I was texting them or calling them constantly, and they didn't want me. Why is that? Right? Because you were being your authentic self. You didn't have a goal in mind. You were just being sincere. I know this happened for me before. And there's also times for me where I perhaps dreaded a conversation. I remember having a conversation. I wanted to talk to a friend about something. I remember being terrified to actually say something about it. And I brought it up, and I was thinking beforehand, how it was going to go bad, how it was going to go terribly, because I didn't want to mess up the dynamic that we already have. But I needed to let this friend know that I was really unhappy with something that happened. And I was really dreading it, and I thought they'd be defensive, and I thought that it would go really badly. And I did. I brought it up. I was very calm. I made my points, and this person reacted very, very humbly. They were very cordial. They were humble, and they apologized to me in the end. And something that I thought that was going to blow up in my face didn't, and it went really well. And me and this person ended up, getting along better than ever. And because I was choosing to be truthful and authentic, they appreciated that, and they picked up on it, and now our relationship is better than ever. So, this is Wu-Wei. This is effortless. This is, when you learn to just go through the motions and just do it and not think of the future or live in the past, and learn to be present about things, you become effortless and you just flow like water, and it's much easier to live life that way. So I hope this is making sense to you in some way. I'm trying to give some practical examples about it. If you're a pure Taoist, you know that you're not supposed to explain Taoism because it can't be explained. It can only be learned, even though Taoism is everything and nothing. I know it's a crazy paradox, but the more you study it, the more it starts to make a lot of sense. The more we can get out of our heads in our lives, better off we are in general. And I found that it's taken me many, many years, decades, to really understand this philosophy. But once you do, and you start putting it into practice every single day in so many ways, the weight just comes off your shoulders, and you start to live just with so much more peace, appreciation, and just gratitude in your daily life. So this has gotten a little bit long now, guys. I do apologize. I want to give you 4 practical ways to leave you with in terms of using Wu-Wei in your daily life. So number 1 is believe in yourself and don't try to convince others. And basically this is not overcompensating and putting on a show with your life. You want to live truly and you want to live sincerely. Number 2, be content with what you're doing and don't seek approval of others. Right? So those who are truly content in life, you don't need permission to do that. Number 3, accept who you are and don't apologize for it. I think through fear of perhaps our parents, our limiting beliefs, or society, there's many reasons. I think sometimes we're given reasons not to be ourselves, and it's only when we get away from ourselves is when we're truly unhappy. So accept who you are and don't apologize to anybody for it. And then number 4, always be present in everything that you do. Like I mentioned, if you'll notice, take time during the day, just to go for walks. And I like to do this. I like to go for walks, and I like to put on music, and I like to just observe what's going on around me, and I like to pick out things that are beautiful. I know this sounds very cheesy, but it's part of mindfulness and it's part of gratitude. Mindfulness is a bit of a buzzword nowadays, I know, for yoga moms, but mindfulness goes back to Taoism and Buddhism and meditation of thousands of years ago. So there's a lot of practicality to this, but always notice that there's something beautiful going on. The sun is shining. There's little kids playing together on the playground. Someone is helping someone across the street. Someone's picking up trash. Anything. It can really be anything. There's always something beautiful going on in the world, and don't let things get you down that you have no control over. In the future of a person, it's just not a good way to live your life. And that's what Taoism is all about. Making sure you maintain that relationship with nature, with the natural way of living. Being in this world, not being in your head all the time. And from the king overthinker, I can tell you that this will radically change your life. So be more Wu-Wei in everything. All right, guys. Well, I hope this made sense, and I hope you got something from it. Make sure that if you are letting go of, or if you're holding on to something too much, make sure to just let it go, and you will be surprised at how your life just opens up, I think. So please leave your comments below if you enjoyed this. Please let me know if there's something that inspired you, or maybe thought of something in your life where perhaps Wu-Wei has actually worked, and how you can apply it. And as always, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And thank you guys for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. Lots of love.